Texas Supreme Court moving toward accrediting Texas law schools themselves. The Federal Trade Commission has commented.
The ABA is dominated by practicing attorneys who have strong interest in limiting competition. Wait, hold on. The Supreme Court is equally run by attorneys. Hello and welcome to episode 537 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. I'm Ben Olson. With me is Nathan Fox. We're the co-founders of lsatdemon.com and the LSAT Demon Daily podcast. We have an email here from Hadil, subject, taking practice tests.
Hi, Demon team. I'm on my third round of studying for the LSAT, this time using the Demon. My diagnostic was a 156, and my official score in June of 2024 was a 163. I sat for the exam again in February 2025, but I got a lower score. I started studying using the Demon in June 2025 and have seen steady progress since. I'm wondering what's the best way to approach taking practice tests. I've only taken one so far in October, where I scored a 168. I held off on taking a PT for so long since I wasn't seeing the accuracy scores I wanted. Now that I'm around the 85 to 100% accuracy range, should I be taking practice tests every few weeks, every week? I'm not sure what the best schedule would be. Thanks so much for your help. You guys are the best. Regards, Hadil. What do you think?
Yeah, generally speaking, I just answered this question yesterday in my class. As your LSAT score goes up, you can, but don't necessarily have to take tests more frequently. I would say most people, you could take a practice test once a month, once every other month. But once you start getting in the 160s, hey, 150s every 3 weeks, 160s every 2 weeks. When you're in the 170s, yeah, you want to take a test every week. That's fine because you're not getting as many wrong. So it's fewer questions for you to review. But at the same time, you don't need to. It's more like I would say a cap. And so, yeah.
You're saying no matter what, don't take the test. Don't take too many full tests.
Exactly. Like I would much rather people favor drilling and time sections because you're able to review immediately after. That doesn't mean to not take practice tests because, hey, let's see what it's like to do 3 or 4 sections back to back. But this idea that, oh, I need to take a test every week or every 2 weeks, no, it's more just don't do more than that. I think people err more on the side of taking too many practice tests, full practice tests, than on taking too few.
Yeah, I would also put a floor on it, which is do one practice test per week as timed sections.
Sure.
Right? If you do 2 sections of LR and 1 section of RC, you can merge those sections together to get your practice test score. And it's not going to vary dramatically from your score when you do all the sections back to back to back. I mean, people think that stamina or fatigue is a thing, but I don't really see it. I think plenty of students can do their entire prep with just timed sections. So I really want every student on day one, okay, look, your schedule for the week is a bunch of drilling and 3 timed sections. You know, a timed section every other day, just so that you can learn to ignore the clock. If you do a mix, right? Timed section one day, drilling the next, timed section the next day, drilling the next. Then you can like train yourself to just go at the same pace when you're doing timed sections and when you're doing your drilling. But then, at the end of the week, you can merge those practice tests together and get a 120 to 180 LSAT score. So you can still see your progress on the 120 to 180 scale over time. As far as full practice tests go, I don't know. The more nervous you are about it, the more important it is that you do it. But if you're not nervous at all, if you believe what I'm telling you when I say, hey, I don't really think fatigue on this test is a thing, and if you just get good enough at time sections, it's not going to bother you. If you believe me, then do 1 practice test a month or less even.
Yeah.
Because I don't care that you sit there and grind it out for 4 hours straight. I care a lot more that you review your mistakes and learn from your mistakes, and that you learn how to do the 35-minute timed section without racing the clock.
I agree.
Think that's enough for Hadil?
Yeah. Keep us posted.
One parting shot, Hadil. 85 to 100% accuracy range. That's a pretty wide range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whenever your accuracy is as low as 85%, that means I think you're only understanding like 70%. So, you know, the quickest route for you to a higher score than 168, and by the way, congratulations on the progress you've made so far, but the quickest route to improvement from there isn't to do more questions, it's to clean up those mistakes. We really want like 95% accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Anything less, and it's very clear that you should be focusing on improving your accuracy. Okay.
Great.
Next one up. All right. So, month ago, 2 months ago, Texas Supreme Court made this declaration that they were moving toward accrediting Texas law schools themselves rather than letting the ABA do it.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like opening up a comment period. You know how these things go. It was like opening up a comment period. And then it's like, well, we're not doing it now, but we're telling you what we're going to do down the road in January, February, whatever, once this comment period is over. Well, the Federal Trade Commission has commented. You want to take a look?
Yeah. Let me open this letter.
I looked at the letter myself. It's funny. Yeah, I have thoughts, but yeah.
Okay. So first of all, it's pretty long. I mean, maybe this is short for a letter that's submitted as a comment. It's
9 pages.
But a
signed
lot of this
by
text. Yeah.
Clark T. I think that's a T. Clark.
Yeah.
Or no,
T.
maybe it's a J.
No, it's a T, because if you go to the bottom, you see it written.
Oh, there it is. Clark T. Edwards, acting director, and Daniel Guarnera, who is a director of the Bureau of Competition. Clark T. Edwards is the acting director, Office of Policy Planning. And those are the two signatures on this letter, which is on Federal Trade Commission letterhead.
Okay. It says, to the Honorable Chief Justice and the Justices of the Supreme Court of Texas. Do we get the conclusion, hopefully, in this first paragraph? I really hope so. We are the directors of the FTC, or this is Federal Trade Commission's FTC or Commission, Office of Policy Planning and Bureau of Competition.
Yep.
The Office of Policy Planning engages with state legislators. Oh, geez. Okay. Competition, blah, blah, blah. The Bureau of Competition enforces America's antitrust laws. Competition is the lifeblood of the American economy, spurring innovation, expanding output and employment, lowering prices, and improving quality and access to goods and services. Okay, so
typical,
these are platitudes, right?
Yeah. That's I was laughing right off the bat, because it was like, okay, so you're sending a letter to the Supreme Court of Texas, and you're starting with like regaling them about the glories of the free market. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then they get a little bit more specific. We're writing this letter to advance those objectives and respond to the Texas Supreme Court's invitation for comment on the proposed amendments to Rule 1 of the rules governing admission to the Bar of Texas. The commission has substantial experience evaluating the competitive effects of professional licensing and related restrictions across the U.S. economy. Great.
Yep.
Through its advocacy program, the commission regularly advises states and local. Okay, I guess lots of background information. Okay. Well, here, let's read this sentence. The commission's prior advocacies highlight the risks of entrusting market participants to act as gatekeepers for their profession or to set the terms on which they and their fellow competitors may compete.
Ah, I see. And what's that have to do with the American Bar Association?
Well, the American Bar Association is made up of attorneys who
read
are
the next couple sentences.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you were asking. Based on this experience, we endorse the proposed amendment and commend that it would eliminate the current rules delegation of authority to the American Bar Association, ABA. The ABA should not serve as a gatekeeper to a critical aspect of admission to the legal profession. Such control by the ABA is inimical. I think that's one of our words of the week. To the principles on which competition law rest.
It means adversary, or like very strongly adversary, like incompatible.
Yeah, very harmful. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ABA is dominated by practicing attorneys who have strong interest in limiting competition for legal services.
Oh. That's a big one there. I mean, that's like, dang, okay. So they're just like straight up saying, hey, the ABA is dominated by attorneys, and what they're trying to do is keep people out of legal practice.
Yep. The letter continues, as such, by the way, that's an improper use of as such. They mean therefore there. Therefore, or as a result, the current rule raises serious competitive risk by so broadly delegating to the ABA the state's authority to set eligibility requirements for admission to the Texas bar. Okay. It effectively gives the ABA, an organization that has previously flouted the rule of law it purports to promote, random accusation, the ability to exclude market participants who would compete with its members. We encourage the court to reclaim its authority to expand opportunities for qualified individuals to provide legal services to the Texas public as envisioned by the proposed amendment. Wait, hold on. The Supreme Court is equally, run by attorneys.
No, it's hilarious because they're sending this letter to the Supreme Court of Texas as if the Supreme Court of Texas is not also attorneys. But they're also like giving them credit, I suppose, for saying like, oh, but you guys are like the enlightened ones because you're the ones who wanted to take this away from the ABA in the first place. So the fact that you want to take this away from the ABA means you guys must be, well, hey, you've reached the Supreme Court of the state of Texas. You no longer need to worry about competition in the, competition for clients or whatever. You're not in that realm anymore. So, oh, wise ones, we endorse your proposal to fire the ABA. It almost feels to me like all they really wanted to do was shit on the ABA.
I think so. Yeah, they're upset with the ABA. Now, to be clear, I'm actually sympathetic to this move. I don't know if there's a way better move here, but I would much rather multiple states do this so that there is at least competition between states.
Oh, totally.
Right? Yeah. Versus so that they don't have unified
like,
one body that's deciding for everybody. Yeah.
No, well, because they end up having such outdated requirements, right? Like, I don't know that the requirement still exists that you have to have a certain number of books in your library.
Yeah, or librarians or whatever.
Or librarians. Or, the worst one now is in-person classroom requirements. It's such a joke. It is such a joke. I mean, I hear from law students all the time. It's like, by the time you're a 2L or 3L, you're taking these upper level classes. It's clear that the professor is just forcing you to come to class for no fucking reason at all. The professor's like, oh, I'm sick, so today class is going to be on Zoom. But you're not allowed to be on Zoom because you have to come to class to watch me on a screen. You have to be in the classroom watching me on a screen.
Wait, what? That's weird.
Yeah, because of in-person classroom requirements.
Oh my gosh.
Or shit like, oh yeah, oh no, this is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I have to go to a conference, but we're going to have a guest speaker. So we're still having class. And it's like, I heard from somebody the other day, had the same guest speaker in 2 different classes in the same week. And it was just, it's like, to me, it's just very obvious that the professors are like living in the modern world. The professors are like, what are we talking about? We don't need to be doing in-person classes. This in-person classroom like the hours in class requirement is obviously stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to make these excuses. And yeah, sure, we'll just have a guest speaker rotate around the classes and give the same lecture in 3 different classes so that we can force these kids to come to class because that's what the Bar Association says they have to do.
Yep. And they're paying that guest speaker some amount per hour, and that speaker is happy to make a little extra money on the side. And the school probably says, yes, we will allow you to allocate 3 of your classes every semester to a guest speaker.
It's just a joke, dude. It's just stupid. It's like it is obviously related to, and maybe I believe that there are some people who think that this is actually something that's important.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But there's also, it seems to me, regulatory capture involved here, where it's like, oh yeah, no, we can't make law school shorter. God forbid. We can't make law school remote or make law school easier. We have to make law school this onerous thing. Only the chosen few can provide legal education, and only the chosen few can get legal education. And it has to be this full-time, in-person, years-long bullshit thing.
Well, look at how education has changed so dramatically, right? Like, you can sign up for $100 a year to get masterclass and take classes from
Yale professors.
World-renowned experts in any random field you want to pursue. And it's radically cheap. It's radically effective because they've figured out, like, okay, how do you present information in an engaging way and quickly? And it's like law school is still doing what it did 50 years ago.
Yeah. And we know from experience, right? I mean, we used to be in-person classroom teachers of the LSAT. Then COVID forced us to do everything we do online, and scores like shot through the roof.
Yeah.
Student satisfaction shot through the roof. Why? Because you guys are grown-ups and you can take classes online. And it's better
at any point. Yeah.
You're wearing your pajamas and you've got your coffee right there, and you don't have to worry about, oh, package delivered, dishwasher repairman's coming, got to take care of my kid. You can do all that shit while also doing your work because you're a grown up. But meanwhile, the law schools treat law students as if they're children.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what more do we want to say about this issue?
I hope we make some headway here. I hope other states actually take this up, because if other states can figure out what makes law schools legit, then a lot of states are going to do it badly. That's always the argument against federalism. But some states are going to do it well, and they're going to allow for online programs to flourish and take off and probably capture the market, really.
Yeah. All right. So we're on their side here. Although
even if we have different motives, I don't know what their motives are.
We definitely have different motives, because there's a section here. Thank you, producer Jacob, for putting together this list. But we have a list here of other ABA troubles. So in April, President Trump directed Education Secretary Linda McMahon to assess whether to suspend or terminate the ABA as the government's official law school accreditor, citing its, quote, unlawful diversity, equity, and inclusion requirements. So, you get, coming from the FTC, which I assume by now must be, I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that the 2 people who signed on to that letter are like Trump appointees.
Yeah, it seems like he's FTC persistently tried to fill his government with people who do exactly what he says and wants.
Seems like he's cleaned house, which I think is not that uncommon for a new administration to clean house. It does seem like he's maybe done it a little more aggressively than others have in the past.
The point is, he's in charge. These are not acting independently as much as they might have in the past. Yeah.
So now we see also the education department is coming after the ABA, trying to get the ABA not to be the official only accreditor of law schools. And why are they doing it? Oh, because they hate DEI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this letter from the FTC came months later, right? 3/4 of a year later, the FTC is chiming in on behalf of Texas Supreme Court for a completely different reason.
Totally.
But Linda McMahon already is yelling at them about DEI stuff. You want to read the next one?
Sure. The same month, the Department of Justice barred its lawyers from attending any ABA events. Quote, senior Justice Department officials have long attended and had major speaking roles at ABA conferences, which draw lawyers from around the country. The new policy seems intended to put a halt on any senior department lawyers doing so again.
That was a piece in the New York Times from Devlin Barrett. I don't know what the motivations were there, but hey.
It's just end the ABA, right? Trump doesn't like
full court press against the ABA.
Yeah, exactly.
Later, the ABA suspended their diversity rule, which involves law schools' demonstration of their commitment to diversity in recruitment, admissions, and programming in February before the executive order. That is now suspended until August of 2026. Yeah, there's a story.
I wonder what the
Reuters,
DEI rule is for law schools.
That the schools have to demonstrate their commitment to diversity in recruitment, admissions, and programming.
Okay.
But that's no longer a rule. That rule is suspended until 2026, and who knows what after that. So anyway, the ABA is under attack from the federal government.
Okay. The next email here is from Juan, stuck at a crossroads.
Hi, Ben and Nathan. I'm hoping to get your perspective and maybe helping me decide what to do next. Helping. Maybe some help on deciding what to do next. Okay. I recently took the November LSAT and scored a 160, which is lower than my practice test range, typically 165 to 170. This score falls short of many of the full-time programs I was originally interested in, and I do not plan to apply this cycle anymore. However, there are some part-time programs like Santa Clara's Flex JD program where this score is at their 75th percentile. I'm about 5 years out of undergrad. I currently work at a Big Four accounting firm. I also completed a master's in taxation. And over the years, my interest in pursuing tax law as a career have strengthened. By the way, like, high five, Juan. I mean, there's always going to be jobs for tax lawyers. There's always going to be jobs for accountants, tax lawyers. You're killing it here. If you're actually, if you can do this work, if you're interested in this work and you can do it, you're on a great path. And you probably already have a pretty awesome career at a Big Four accounting firm, by the way. So here's the two paths that Juan is choosing from. One, apply this cycle to a part-time or Flex JD program and continue working while earning my degree, allowing me to keep progressing in my career. I like that plan a lot. Just the go part-time part of that plan, I like a lot.
Yep.
2, dedicate more time to studying and retake the LSAT in hopes of raising my score and applying to full-time programs next cycle, which was my original plan. I like that less. You've got such a good job. Why do you need to go to law school full-time? Why not do law school in 4 years instead of 3 years? It's not even that much more time.
Well, you'll graduate in the same year.
Oh, if you start now in a part-time program, you graduate the same year. If you wait a year and then go full-time, I see. Yes, true. My career aspirations are kind of all over the place. Working for the tax courts or IRS sounds interesting as a litigator. However, I enjoy the work I'm doing, and there are opportunities to advance my career as a corporate tax attorney too. I mean, that's where the money is. I know I want to get my law degree, just not sure what the best way to do so would be. Thank you in advance. Love to hear your perspectives. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of a part-time program. All the better if Santa Clara's Flex JD program involves some online work as much as possible.
And if you can go for free. I mean, that would be my only reason to wait. would be to dramatically reduce the cost. And even then, if you wait a year, get a better score, and get into better programs with better offers, can you go to a part-time program and still do the,
I wish I had an undergraduate GPA here from Juan. So, listeners, if you're thinking about emailing us, which by the way, do we have our email address back up again? Is it help@thinkinglsat.com?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to thinkinglsat.com and submit our web form as well, but you can email our producer at help@thinkinglsat.com. If you do that and you can include your UGPA, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
I'm going to make up a number. What do you think Juan's undergraduate GPA is?
Let's say 3.6.
Okay, 3.6 and a 160. Is that right? 160?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 160. That's his current. And I'm gonna use the new, relatively new. The scholarship estimator now has a part-time flag.
Yep.
So lsatdemon.com/scholarships. I put in the 3.6 on the 160. I put the part-time flag on, and I hit update. So now I'm seeing a filtered list of just part-time programs.
Mm-hmm.
And where is Santa Clara on this list?
156.
156, and it's showing less than half scholarship. I wonder if we make that a 165. Yeah, now it's a full tuition scholarship.
And there are, I saw one option with higher GPA. At least it's a stipend.
So there's the thing, Juan. I mean, I know you make good money now, but Santa Clara Law School is expensive as hell. That shit's outrageous, dude. I mean, you know where it is, right? It's like it's right next to the San Jose. It's right next to the San Jose airport. It's Silicon Valley. I mean, it's a great location, great weather. Like, it's awesome. Beautiful campus, by the way. It looks like Stanford a lot. Hopefully you won't have to go there very much in the flex program. Hopefully you can just do it from home. But yeah, I mean, I get it that your 160 is in the 75th percentile of a very small sample of a part-time program. I just don't think this is something that you necessarily need to pay for. The 75th percentile grant amount for their part-time program is $46,726, which has to be damn near full price.
Yeah.
So, if you did apply this cycle, Juan, and they wanted to charge you anything significant, I would probably just pump the brakes and apply next cycle, even if you do decide to go to the part-time program.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference? You're going to be working in tax law. You're already working in tax law. You're working in tax accounting. You're working in tax law, basically. You keep going down that road, tack on a JD. Like, what's the difference whether you tack on a JD in 4 years or 5 years from now? But you might be able to save yourself 150 grand if you get a better LSAT. And based on your practice test scores, 165 to 170, man, you're leaving so much money on the table, I think, if you don't retake it. Now, that said, if you throw in the application to that Flex JD and they look at your current situation, I mean, man, if they hear like tax lawyer and they know you're legit, they might just decide, okay, yeah, we actually want you now, and give you the real offer. Or you could just negotiate to the real offer.
Yeah.
So you could try. I just wouldn't pay. I think, man, Juan, I think you're somebody who you ought to be getting the best end of this deal.
And there's no rush, because if you keep your job, you're getting paid, so you can play the long game.
Definitely go part-time, not full-time. Try to go part-time remote if you can. As remote as possible. In-person JDs are stupid. Go as remote as possible. I mean, especially for Juan. Juan's like a working person, right? Juan's not straight out of college and wants to extend his college career.
Yeah.
Juan's like, no, I'm serious business. I'm working in tax accounting. I want to go level up my career even more in tax law. Do it part-time remote, but just there's no reason for you to pay for it. Next thing on the agenda is tips from departing demons. We've got 5 different demons who are on their way out the door, and they have some tips for LSAT studiers.
Excellent. So this first one is from Mahilani.
Yeah, Mahalani,
Mahilani.
Mahalani, maybe.
Mahalani from Las Vegas, Nevada. Mahalani writes, when wrong answers look obviously wrong and right answers look obviously right, that's when you know you're ready. Practice enough every day to get yourself there. First practice test score was a 166. Official score was 172.
Yeah. I love that tip. I mean, I think that's like what motivated us to write the book, The LSAT is Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you get good enough at the test, you realize, oh, wait, this is not a test of second bests. The wrong answers are garbage, and the right answer clicks. Of course, there are a few maybe tougher questions, but you can get to a 172 without getting any of the harder, the hardest questions are not required to get to a 172. You just have to see how easy the easy and medium difficulty questions are. Next one is Rye from Albany, New York, says, if you're stuck between 2 answer choices, you don't understand what you're reading. Rye's first practice test with the demon was a 168, but his best practice test with the demon was a 179. I've actually stolen that and started using it in my classes. That if you're stuck between 2 answer choices, you just didn't understand.
There's something you didn't understand with what you were reading. Yeah. Fair. Next one is from Michael from Wayne, New Jersey. Progress is never linear. If you get a -0 one day and a -3 the next, you did not get worse at the LSAT. As your practice tests increase, remember that there are many people that would give a lot to be in your position. Burnout can settle in quickly when you study for the LSAT alone. Go to the study buddy finder in the Demon Discord channel and find people to conquer this test with. First practice test was a 156. Best practice test 164.
Nice, Michael. How do people find our Discord?
They click on their profile icon, and there's a link to Demon Discord. Great. And as long as you have a free account, you can get in.
Yeah. Go to the lsatdemon.com and get yourself a free account. You can interact with fellow demons on our Discord. Lexi from Garland, Texas, who was scoring in the 160 somethings, says, habit stacking for studying can be really beneficial within reason. This might come across as girly advice, but I frequently wore a face mask, teeth whitening strips, or under eye patches when studying to make it a little more fun. I liked the idea of doing something mentally and physically good for myself. Thank you. Are you a habit stacker, Ben?
I probably am, but I actually don't exactly. Doing 2 things at the same time or sandwiched between each other? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you can do both. I think you can do it either way, right? But the classic habit stacking thing is like, oh, if you want to make sure you take your medication every day consistently,
you put it next to your toothbrush.
To your toothbrush, right? Or attach anything that you want to do all the time to something that you definitely do every day.
Okay. Yeah, I do that. I guess I do that indirectly. I have a list of things I want to do every day, and I see that list. So I guess my habits are stacked to that list.
Yeah.
All right. Andrea from Miami, Florida.
Yep.
Read carefully. Take your time. Trust the demon. Spend lots of time reviewing wrong answers. And then this is in all caps. Use the ask button. Started off with a 138 cold diagnostic, just received an official 165. Above the 75th percentile for all of my schools. I'll miss the demon, and I'll always be grateful for all of the down-to-earth explanations.
Explanations that don't rely on a bunch of jargon, a bunch of diagramming, explanations that just try to make it clear that if you read it carefully and try to engage with it, you can understand what it's actually saying. And when you understand what it's actually saying, there's just only going to be one right answer. So that was, by the way, almost a 30-point improvement from Andrea.
Yeah.
And that's not even uncommon these days. We see people make improvements in the high 20s all the time. That's mundane improvement these days to improve your LSAT score by 20 points.
Big difference. Yeah, the next email here is from Maddie. The subject is always worst on the first section.
Hi. Period. Paragraph break.
Cool.
I've been studying for the LSAT for a couple months now, and regardless of if it's LR or reading comp, I always perform worst on the first section of a timed practice test. This doesn't surprise me. I've always been the type of test taker who improves as I settle into the test. How do you suggest overcoming the first section of the test bumpiness and anxiety? Would it be silly to take a warm-up section before an actual timed test in an attempt to get the nerves out? I always feel rattled for the first 20 minutes of the LSAT and find myself most inclined to mess up easy questions in the beginning. P.S. I had a 504 plan in high school for anxiety, but didn't use extended time in college. I'm sure I could get extended time again, but I don't think I need it.
Okay. To your first question, how do you suggest overcoming the first section of the test's bumpiness and anxiety? Would it be silly to take a warm-up section? I think it would be silly to do an entire warm-up section, but a lot of people will drill several questions and then start the test.
I have submitted an idea, Ben, to the development team.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying I want this to happen, just an idea of a like warm up button in the daemon where you hit warm up and it gives you like 3 easy questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's on the list. I don't hate it. I also think though that Maddie is like maybe losing the mental game here.
Sure, by believing that this is a persistent problem.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's what I think, Maddie, is that, you know, I suppose it could be something real, but it also could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, I think it is real, but maybe it is real because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's a possibility, right? Yeah.
You know, like you've got, there's no reason to have anxiety over a practice test. And on the LSAT, at least, unlike other tests, you know, you probably weren't allowed to take your college exams 5 times. Maybe you were. These days, I think there's a lot of that type of thing going on where if you don't do well on the first attempt, you can try again. But on the LSAT, you can try up to 5 times officially, and law schools are only going to care about your highest score. So your first official test is just a practice test for your second official test, which is just a practice test for your third official test, if necessary. And all of your practice sections or practice tests in the daemon are practice tests for your first official practice test. I mean, why would you be nervy? For what? Like, are you nervous when you do your drilling? Probably not. Drilling one question, take all the time you need, solve that question, right? Well, when you do your time sections, we want you to behave in the exact same way. I mean this literally. Don't change. Whatever you're doing on drilling, do that exact same thing on your time sections. Just take the time to solve that question. It's not going to take you that long. If you read it correctly, if you actually understand what it says, the question's going to seem easy. So without trying to go fast, you're going to go plenty fast. And I think that's what people like Maddie get wrong, is that they hype it up. They build it up to be this big thing. Like, oh my God, I'm doing a time test now. I'm doing a practice test now. Yeah, okay, but it's going to start with one question, just like your drilling starts with one question. And all you have to do is just understand that question. If you understand the question, it solves itself. You know, it's like the tips we just read, right? Mahalani said wrong answers look obviously wrong and right answers look obviously right. Rai said if you're stuck between two answer choices, you don't understand what you're reading. So for people like Maddie, I don't know. I feel like you could just decide not to have the anxiety because you're not doing a section. I got this from you, Ben. You're not doing a section. You're doing one question. Just do that question and then do another one and forget about the fact that you're doing a full test and just take it one question at a time. Because I think that, this idea of the warm up, I guess maybe if you do a few warm up questions, then you'll realize, oh, I'm just doing one question at a time.
Yeah, I wonder if, what you're saying is that the warm up might reinforce this idea that what you're about to do is special or different.
That would be my fear would be that if you do this warm up, you're still going to experience the same problem that you're experiencing on section 1. Because the reason why you're experiencing the problem on section 1 is that you think you're supposed to be doing something different when you're doing your section.
Certainly possible. I mean, you can test it out. But one thing I was thinking about as you were talking is that we have floated the idea of renaming official tests
Yeah.
practice tests because they're just another test, right?
Yeah.
Should we be renaming practice tests as drilling?
It's an interesting
What
thought.
do you do? You just drill.
Well, yeah. Whether we want to actually rename things, we can at least reinforce the idea with people, with listeners, that we really legitimately want you to do the exact same thing drilling as we do during your time sections. And then do the exact same thing that you've been doing there on your official attempts at the LSAT. Because the test is solvable.
Yeah.
It's just not a matter of speed. It doesn't matter how fast you go if you don't comprehend. And you don't comprehend if you try to go fast. So you should just be focusing on solving the problems.
One at
not
a time.
Racing through. You just you can't, like, the second you start racing, all it's going to do is slow you down and cause you to miss questions.
Yep.
So just slow down and just answer the questions. And then you magically just go plenty fast when you actually understand what you're doing. Thank you for writing in, Maddie. I hope that's helpful. Next one's from Addie, asking for advice on LSAT score. Wait, actually, before I move on to Addie, I want to point out to Maddie that you are 100% correct, that if you have had a 504 plan for anxiety in the past, I'm 100% sure that you could get accommodated extra time on the LSAT. Now, Addie, asking for advice on LSAT score cancellation.
Yep. Addie writes, I got a 169 on the September LSAT. I retook in October as I was consistently practice testing in the 170s and got a 168. Okay, so 1 point lower than her September LSAT. I was advised to keep the score as it was in my range and could look worse than it is if I canceled. It doesn't make a difference. I took it again in November and got a 167. I had to take it remotely and faced significant technological challenges. I have already applied to schools pending the November release. What should I do with this score? Should I cancel it, or does it make it look worse than it is? Or should I keep the score and write an addendum about the technological challenges I faced in November? None of those options.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Why do you keep wasting your money on score preview?
Yeah, and then the decision fatigue associated with it.
It's just a waste of money. I mean, a canceled score and a bad score are the same thing. They know you didn't cancel a good score.
They know.
They assume that you canceled a bad score.
That you did worse.
Right. So, it just doesn't, it just does not matter. And that's why you shouldn't waste money on score preview.
Yep.
because whether you cancel or keep it, it's a bad score. They're only going to report your highest score to the American Bar Association. That's the number that law schools are going to use to admit you, because that's the number that the rankings agencies are going to use to rank their law school. So, Addie, you can keep that score or cancel that score. I don't think it matters at all. And I definitely would not write an addendum about technological challenges I faced in November. What I would do, Ben, what would you do?
You're practice testing in the 170s. You have 3 more practice test scores on record, 169, 168, 167. I'm very confident that you could score higher than those if you took it again. It's very possible that you don't, but since you have only upside if you take it again and score higher, take it again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the one thing that will make this all completely moot is if you take it again in January or February or April and get a 170 anything, including a 170.
Yep.
Because not only does that trump your 168 and your 167 or your cancel, but it also trumps the 169, which is currently your highest on record, and you just become a 170 in the eyes of the schools. Not only that, but 170 is that round number, like we talked about last episode.
The schools chase, yeah.
Our schools bizarrely try to have medians at those square round numbers. So yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely worth it for you, Addie, to take it again, and whether you cancel or not, it just doesn't matter. Okay, Gong Show?
Let's do it. So William is up next on season 2 of the personal statement Gong Show. Umang and Sally are tied with 11 lines. We're going to read this, and as soon as we can no longer tolerate it, we will stop. And your goal is to have us read as many lines as possible.
Whoa.
What's up?
I'm going to let you read it.
Oh, okay. Thanks. First line. I stripped off all my clothes preparing to walk on stage in front of a packed crowd at the Naked Comedy Show. Good luck in your applications.
To me, it feels extremely risky.
Oh, it's 100% risky. I mean, some people are going to shrug it off and be like, okay, interesting. Tell me about yourself, William. Other people are going to be like, hard no, deny.
Some people are going to that's going to color their assessment of you fairly or unfairly. It doesn't matter.
Almost instantaneously.
No, instantaneously. It's just going to be, it's just like that is something that, like, they're not going to forget you. But maybe you want to be forgettable, honestly. I mean, on the theory that what law schools want more than anything is people who are going to be successful worker bees. This does not sound like a successful worker bee. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't sound like someone who's going to be successful.
Oh yeah, you look at the next 2 sentences. You caught the attention of the New York Times.
Okay. I'll keep reading. I just wanted you to read that first sentence. I just wanted you to react to it. All right, so I'll start over. I stripped off all my clothes, preparing to walk on stage in front of a packed crowd at the Naked Comedy Show. Since college, I have organized many successful comedy shows, but this night was different. Tonight, I had attracted the attention of the New York Times, whose comedy editor sat in the back right corner of the room. As an experienced producer, I knew all of the boxes to check. I booked excellent comedians with TV credits and clout to ensure no one could call us a gimmick for laughs. I marketed the show in online communities whose interests would overlap with such a unique event. I designed the room layout. I put up hundreds of flyers around the city. With over 100 eager audience members waiting for a show, the producer in me was satisfied. Now all I had to do was be funny. That night's performance would land us on the cover of the Times art section the following month, fueling sold-out shows for years. That's the first paragraph.
I mean, clearly William knows how to get stuff done. The writing here is stylistically and in terms of punctuation and sentence length is perfect. I don't see any mistakes. Yeah, it's just a tough situation that we're in.
It's I'm the last person. I would not judge anybody morally for this. I'm just trying to think about how it's going to hit law schools. It's like this jumps off the page, and I'm not sure you want to be jumping off the page.
I mean, it's very possible that it can. I mean, maybe it's the lightning bolt. It's gonna. Some people are gonna say hard no, and some people are gonna be like hard yes. This person is successful. New York Times front page. I don't know. It's law is such a conservative.
That's what I'm saying. Is that like okay?
Not morally, just like in terms of like I don't know historical. What is it? It's a slow-moving industry that follows a lot of procedures and.
Well, like, okay, so I don't know what William wants to do. And that's one thing that William is not making clear in this first paragraph.
Yeah.
You know, like this is when you start talking about something that's so wildly different, like not adjacent to lawyer shit, which any like normal business would be lawyer shit. But this is entertainment. Not that there aren't entertainment lawyers, but okay, so you're a comedian and a comedy producer. Why do you want to be? Why do you want to be a lawyer? Because, like, okay, if you come back with like, oh, I want to go into big law. To think of like big law firms hiring somebody who
they don't want to do that.
Once did naked comedy. I don't know. Like, I can just imagine the hiring partners or whatever being like, boy, can we ever put this guy in front of our clients?
Well, think about all the attorneys that got fired because they were upset with the way the Trump administration was dealing with big law firms. And those are reasonable intellectual gripes with federal power. But the firm is like, no, we're not dealing with that drama.
Yeah, and they do significant background checks, right? I mean, even the bar associations do significant background checks on people.
Yep.
So the fact that you were willing to do something like this, I don't even think it's true, but I think that they would maybe think that if you were willing to do something like this, then maybe you also have other things that might embarrass the firm.
Or this. I mean, I don't know. What kind of clients are the firms hiring? Some are just going to be like, no.
Yeah, not taking the attorney. And I do not want the attorney who once was in the New York Times for doing naked comedy.
Yep.
I can certainly see certain moneyed interests deciding that they did not want to have this layer of.
They just don't want the risk.
Yeah. Just whatever it is, right? It's just like, well, that's just too outside the mainstream.
Yep.
Yeah. I am going to keep reading though.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is not, I could certainly see some schools being like, nope.
Yep.
Nope. No, it's an error in judgment. You're supposed to be presenting yourself as an attorney, and you're stripping off your clothes in the first 3 words.
Yeah.
The first 3 words are "I stripped off."
Yeah.
Like,
all my clothes. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, the first joke I told in front of a crowd was at my college dorm's talent show. Space M dash space clothed. Yeah, I would assume that you did not.
Is that naked too? Yeah.
My inside baseball reference to New York University's strict visitor policy got a huge laugh, and I was hooked on the satisfaction of commanding a crowd. That satisfaction would turn into a full-time career in 2016 when I quit my day job as an editorial researcher to support myself with my jokes, my freelance writing, and my podcast. You know, immediately the lawyers go,
That's a lot of content to manage.
the law firms go, "Oh, you've been putting yourself out there on a podcast for a bazillion years?" You know, one of the real common things that law students do is like change their name on all their social media
Mm,
to like prepare for the character and fitness examination from the state bar down the
yeah.
road.
Yeah.
And so I can see the schools being like, wow, okay, so this is somebody who has been like, they can attract the media and they create their own media, and there's thousands of hours worth of jokes out there.
Jokes. Yeah.
God knows what this guy's been talking about on his podcast for a bazillion years.
Hmm.
You know, like how many offensive snippets are out there in the world? And you could be Jim Gaffigan, as far as I know. You could be like the cleanest comedian ever.
Mm-hmm.
Although you did tell me in the first 3 words that you did naked comedy, which makes me think that you're probably not a like Christian comic or whatever. You know, so boy, I don't know. Like the red flag is just waving,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I think he's already the new leader though in our personal statement Gong show because we can't not keep reading.
Yeah.
In 2014, I launched a weekly lifestyle podcast using my public speaking prowess.
Yeah, you're trying to sell yourself now.
Yeah, you just right there, you just went over the top with telling instead of
You
showing.
went from showing to telling. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Using my public speaking prowess and curiosity-driven interview style to elicit honest, sex-positive, and often taboo conversations.
Okay, well, that just confirms your worries.
Well,
you're like, what hours and hours of what kind of content?
So now, at this point, I feel like now you have to be applying to certain law schools for certain purposes. And you better make it clear what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really? Okay, so you have a weekly lifestyle podcast which has taboo conversations on it. So now I'm imagining exactly, yeah, like my fears from earlier. Whoa, thousands of hours of like, what's this guy talking about? And do you think it's, I mean, like, would a big law firm ever hire somebody like this? I guess I can't paint with that broad of a brush. Like, there's probably exceptions. But aren't they, doesn't this just seem like, screams like risk?
Screams risk, and they are not risk.
They're not risk what?
They don't want to take risk.
No, they hate risk. I mean, they have extremely expensive malpractice insurance.
Yeah.
Right? So just imagine like some big firm hiring somebody like this. And the client like immediately firing you for your bad judgment. Like firing the firm for their bad judgment.
Yeah.
Of bringing somebody like this who could be attached to my billions dollar corporation or whatever.
Yep.
So, and hey, maybe William wants to do something really specific. Like, William, if you want to go be a public defender, no problem. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? That doesn't seem like it would be any problem at all. You're like working for the government at that point. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's not about you, right? I don't think. But man,
would the government hire though? They have their own standards for
I know that's
background checking. Yeah.
Government's going to have their own like big background check thing, and so who knows? The show quickly found its audience, releasing new episodes for over 600 consecutive weeks. Holy shit. That's longer than us.
Impressive.
That is quite impressive. That is a very impressive fact. In addition to my duties as host, I am my own editor, talent booker, sound engineer, ad sales rep, graphic designer, administrative assistant, and fan club manager. I would maybe take all that stuff out.
Like, because it makes you look.
Well, this is just a natural question there, which is like, why wouldn't you hire some of those things done?
Yeah.
You're like trying to tell me on the one hand how successful this endeavor is.
Mm-hmm.
But then that undercuts it. That's like, oh, wow. So you've been scraping this thing out every week.
I mean, there are some people who are some managers or leaders who are heavily hands-on. So maybe he has a team, but he's also doing this like full on with them. I don't know. Yeah.
But, like he's obviously throwing in everything and the kitchen sink, right? Like throwing in administrative assistant.
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you delegate? And I don't think that has the effect you're hoping it has. These efforts resulted in thousands of regular listeners every month, millions of downloads, and write-ups in notable press outlets like, don't say notable press outlets. Don't even say press outlets. Just say, and write-ups in the Washington Post, the New York Post, Esquire, and Salon.
Yep.
I mean, because either the reader knows what those things are and goes, oh, that's real papers, or they don't know what those are, in which case you telling them that these are notable press outlets feels inauthentic to them. So just cut notable press outlets there and just show instead of tell. Growing a fan base and making money with my art is exciting, but my biggest joy takes place after I turn the microphones off and the guest says, quote, I've never shared that on a podcast before. One recent guest, a popular social media circus performer, beamed after speaking about her polyamorous relationships in public for the first time.
Okay.
I have a feeling that Ben is going for the gong here. Would you?
No, I mean, I'm actually, I think if I were an admissions officer, I would stop and I'd be like, okay, I'm reading all about this guy, but probably denying. There's no way. You just can't accept. Like you said, in the big law firm, anyone who hired this person would probably end up getting in trouble. Same with at a law firm or at a law school.
I'm not saying you can't get into law school, but if they're going to admit you, they're thinking that you're going to go do your own thing somehow, not like get. This is not the type of thing that like the law firms are going to be excited about.
Yep.
We should probably read the rest of this because otherwise the listeners are going to be pissed. So
it's almost done too. Yeah. I mean, the writing's great. Like, hey, look,
Yeah. It's funny because the writing's great and William is clearly like understanding the assignment from us of like put your best foot forward, show your achievements, show yourself in action. There's a little bit of telling that's mixed in there that like can be cleaned up,
Easily cut. Yeah.
but
Yep.
it's mostly actually showing. It's like fact after fact after fact after fact.
And
The
impressive facts. Yeah.
and impressive
Depending on the
facts.
context.
Totally. It's just the question. Yeah, it's just like these are very impressive facts, but why are you trying to go to law school of all
Yeah.
things?
Yeah. Maybe we'll get an answer.
Maybe we'll get an answer. Let's see. Okay, so this popular social media circus performer is beaming about speaking about her polyamorous relationships in public for the first time. And that's what William just said is his biggest joy is moments like that.
Okay. So getting people to open up, kind of like Oprah.
About specifically taboo things, though.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay. A TV host, a Chopped chef, a New York senator, and others have opened up to me about their personal lives on the mic. Podcasting still offers an avenue for authentic human connection in a click-driven digital world, but it also attracts censorship as legislators attempt new methods of controlling their constituents' speech.
Ooh, that last idea went abstract. Poorly written. Yep.
That was a weird turn. I think that's him trying to signal like here's the kind of law I want to practice. But that then veers into, I think, a very bad reason for going to law school. Like this particular legal area that impacted what I really want to do, like the thing that I'm natural at, the thing that I'm good at, the thing that I've been doing. Oh, because I had this legal entanglement or because there was this threat of censorship. Now that's why I want to go become a lawyer. Uh, my reaction to that is, well, maybe you want to hire a lawyer.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you want to go become a lawyer because that's a dramatic shift from what you've been doing.
Well, although this is very in line with William's mindset, I am my own editor, talent booker,
Right.
sound
do it all
engineer.
myself.
Yeah.
Be my own legal counsel.
Yeah.
But see, that's exactly the thing though, right? What is it? If you are your own lawyer, you have a fool for a client.
Yeah.
And so if that's what you're suggesting here, like, oh, I'm going to go represent myself legally, that wouldn't be a good angle. Also, are podcasts really getting censored?
I haven't heard of this at all, but maybe so.
Yeah, we've had the explicit tag on our podcast for forever, so we can say fuck all we want. People get mad sometimes, but I guess we're not talking about
We're
polyamory.
not talking about
and we're not doing the podcast in the nude.
on sex positive topics. Yeah.
Okay, last paragraph.
Yep.
As someone who discusses mature topics online, which, that's the last thing that a law firm wants. It might be literally the last thing that a law firm wants. I mean, they don't want you discussing anything online.
Yeah.
Let alone discussing mature topics online. All right. As someone who discusses mature topics online, I am particularly troubled by a new wave of censorship coming out of state capitals and Congress. Loosely worded age verification laws meant to protect children from pornography allow attorneys general to decide which speech on the internet is, quote, harmful to minors. Sometimes it's as simple as a president not liking your jokes for the FCC to strong arm a network into suppressive actions. Oh, that's like the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's not cool.
As a lawyer, I hope to take my interest in constitutional law into a career that helps protect people and businesses' rights. See, but ABC is not hiring you. That's the thing. It's like ABC does not want an attorney who carries this kind of baggage. Last couple sentences here.
Yeah.
When I dove into the history of comedy, I learned about obscenity and defamation through Larry Flint's infamous legal battles and the arrests of Lenny Bruce. Art has often been used to test the judicial limits of free speech and artistic expression. When shocked people ask, quote, is naked comedy even legal? I take a deep breath and explain what a prurient interest is.
So there, statement.
And that's the end of the statement. So he ends on a like lawyering without a license kind of a note, right? Like I already know what prurient interest is. I know what that means.
Yeah.
Which if you haven't been to law school, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. I'm pretty sure. Do you agree with me on that?
Well,
you might know a lot about it.
No, you could become an expert in something. I don't think you need law school, but I
mean, actually, I shouldn't have said law school. I should have said if you don't practice law in this area.
Yeah, it's very tough. Yes,
it's going to mean a different thing in every jurisdiction. It's going to depend on what the courts in that area have decided it is. You know, like it's as if he thinks he knows what it is, but there's a lot more to that. I don't know. I just, anytime you come off sounding like you know things, right? Like, oh, I know about law. I think you got to realize how that strikes. I think the admissions committees are going to be like, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, even if you are an expert in that way.
You've not practiced law in this area, so I'm not sure you do know what it is. Boy. We made it through the entire statement.
Yeah, that's the end of season 2. I mean, you got
William
to
is
read the whole
champion.
thing.
William is the champion of season 2, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is something that's going to be very successful with law schools.
Yeah, I guess why do you want to become a lawyer? You want to become a lawyer to pursue constitutional law? I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be challenging. Maybe talk to people who have similar backgrounds and have succeeded. Maybe you don't know what we're talking about.
How do you practice constitutional law?
Hey, that is really tough. I mean, you go to a firm like Sidley Austin, right? And you take on big clients who need help appealing
eventually
cases.
Yeah, right. You're working on you're in the federal courts.
Yeah.
Working on appeals. How do you get there? I mean, you get there via the firms.
Ooh, you are of the most conservative.
That's what I'm
worker
saying.
bee, do what I'm told. I don't see how you're going to get there. But hey, prove us wrong.
Well, I don't give a fuck what anyone does, like sexually, morally, whatever. Like I'm not at all conservative in that way. You know, I think people should be able to do what they want to do, basically. But I can imagine what the other side might say. I could just imagine someone like if William shows up to represent Jimmy Kimmel, if Jimmy Kimmel decides to sue ABC because, I mean, it didn't work this way, but counterfactually, if Kimmel would have got fired, right? Kimmel comes and sues ABC. So now you're going to either represent Kimmel or ABC. But the other side is like, look, this guy, they have a pornographer as their attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that William is a pornographer, but I'm saying William has done naked stand-up comedy and has done thousands of hours of like prurient, potentially talk on his podcast. It's like, I mean, he's going out of his way to like compare himself or put himself in the same camp as Larry Flint.
Yeah.
So I'm actually 100% on his side. Like, I don't
know if it's going to work.
I don't think that comedians should be censored at all.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But if I was a comedian trying to protect myself, I would not want a fellow comedian as my attorney. Like I would want somebody who was like completely the opposite of that. I would want somebody who's like totally morally upstanding.
And they're saying this is
traditionally
what should
morally
happen.
upstanding.
Yeah.
You know, I want somebody who looks squeaky clean making that case for me.
Yeah.
I want somebody who can stand up and say, I actually am offended by these words, but it's not about that, right?
Under the First Amendment or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what. So, boy, this is a tough, I feel like this is really trying to thread the needle.
I mean, heck, you can apply broadly and see what happens.
I'm sure he'll get in if he applies broadly enough. I don't think that this is going to be an immediate no everywhere, but I would love to know where he's applying, and I would love to know how it goes for him.
Please, yeah, tell us.
This statement is plenty well written enough. I mean, notes are take the telling out of it and concentrate on the showing. I'm not sure that the entire last paragraph, I understand what you're trying to do there by, you know, like signaling here's why I want to go to law school. But I don't know, Ben, are you convinced by this? I'm particularly troubled by a new wave of censorship coming out of state capitals and Congress.
Oh, no, I do think it's, genuine. But
I mean, yeah.
What do you mean? Or convinced that it would work?
Is that the best angle William could take?
I think it might be the only angle William could take after saying everything about that. Like, what? You know, we got to get to that question of why law. It might be better. William, you're a great writer. So put one sentence at the beginning that teases this idea so that we can then get through all this content looking for the fuller explanation. You know, it's like when you start watching a movie and there's someone dies or something and then they go back 12 years and now you're like, okay, how did we get there? I think we might need that so that we can, you know, we know that it's coming.
Like, so there's a sentence here that says, as a lawyer, I hope to take my interest in constitutional law into a career that helps protect people and businesses' rights. Moving something like that up to the very top of the statement to like frame what comes next.
Yep.
Just something to consider, William.
Yeah. And I don't know it'd be that exact sentence. I wanted to keep it pretty short.
But something like that.
Something like that. It definitely, as a first impression, right, it would create a much more serious tone that would then allow maybe people to get through all of this and be like, oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah. So something like, I hope to defend comedians from censorship. To make it clear that that's really what you want to do before you go into the naked comedy and the sex podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to lose people along the way. If you apply to 30 schools, 15, 20 of them aren't even going to get past the first sentence.
I could just see a lot of people thinking, if I admit this guy down the road, somebody's going to come to me going, hey, this William guy, can I look at his admissions file? And then they get this they read this personal statement. And you know, like imagine if a normal person, not normal, but it's just saying William's abnormal. I mean, this is an unusual personal statement, right? Imagine if like someone who has a traditional worker bee background does something that might be mildly scandalous. They go back to the file and they read just a normal worker bee personal statement.
There's like, oh, there were no red flags.
Yeah. There were no red flags. But if William ever gets himself in hot water or gets his school in hot water, then they go back to the file and he's stripping off in the first 3 words of his personal statement. And you could just imagine the boss waving that thing around, yelling at the admissions person who, really, you admitted this guy to my school? And so I could imagine in a cover your ass, I could just imagine the admission person being like, yeah, I'm going to go down the middle here with all these other applicants.
I mean, this is why you have to apply broadly, right? Because I also, when I'm thinking about the alternative, what is the alternative here? William has a massive online presence.
Yeah.
So there's no hiding this. So maybe the best strategy is to just come out with it, right? Like own the narrative and then go to whatever school is willing to
Do you think though that you think the schools are doing those kinds of like background checks on people?
think it would be it seems like it would be irresponsible not to, right? And they're doing those
the second he says I have a podcast, I've been doing a podcast for what did he say? 6,000 weekly episodes? 600. No,
600. It's 11 and a half years.
Yeah. 600 consecutive weekly podcasts. It does seem like it would be malpractice for somebody to not just quick Google you.
Yeah.
So, and it's probably on your resume.
I think they have to be doing this as a matter of course now, especially with AI. Yeah. Just Google this and let me know if there's any red flags.
You know, leading though with the naked comedy show and wrapping it up with the naked comedy show.
Yeah.
That's a dramatic choice. You could tone this down a lot if you just take that out.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's better to get ahead of it. It's going to come out.
Does that necessarily have to come out? I mean,
it's in the New York Times.
No, but is it going to come out okay. One, I don't think that that's the type of thing that needs to be disclosed. It's not like that's it's not like that you got kicked out of school for doing that. It's just a thing that you did. You're an adult. It was an adult performance. Everybody knew what was going to happen at the naked comedy show. If you didn't want to go to the naked comedy show, you didn't have to go to the naked comedy show. So what? I did the naked comedy show. Right? So I don't think it's like something that has to be disclosed. So, and it also, I don't think is necessarily your biggest achievement. In fact, it's definitely not your biggest achievement. You had 100 eager audience members waiting for a show and a reporter from the New York Times. That's great. But your 600 weekly episodes of your podcast is far more impressive. Right? So you're leading with this anecdote that's so powerful. Like so strong. It's like
overpowered.
It's like if the appetizer is like the most powerful flavor you're going to have in the entire meal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the ultra hot, ultra super chili pepper. And that's the very first thing you have. Then it flavors the rest of the entire thing, right? I mean, I would love to see what happens here if he rewrites this and just takes out the naked comedy show. I know that he thinks like that's his dramatic hook, but do you really need that to be your dramatic hook? Because you've got the Washington Post, the New York Post, the Esquire, and Salon all writing up your podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, that's like a more like, oh, this is an official, it's like a production. It's a business that you've been doing. Whereas the naked comedy show sounds like it was a one-off. I mean, you're just really choosing to have them anchor on naked comedy guy.
Yeah.
Maybe you could
versus
instead
podcaster,
successful podcast comedian guy.
Yeah. Who talks about.
And then it's like, oh yeah. I mean, when they do find out this guy did naked comedy show, they're like, whoa, did you really do that? Oh my God, that's amazing. You know, because they see you as like successful comedian podcast producer instead of naked comedy guy.
Yeah.
I think it would look, I mean, you could have almost all the exact same facts. You just repackage it in a way where you don't lead and close with naked comedy guy. All right. That's my suggestion. Thank you, William, for submitting.
All right, let's go to word of the week. This is from a New York Times article. Powell faces pressure from multiple fronts as Fed prepares to cut rates.
The quote is, Mr. Powell is also under attack by people outside the central bank, chiefly President Trump, who has spent months browbeating the chair for not slashing borrowing costs. Are you up on this news? And or do you just know what the word browbeating means?
Well, an image came right into my mind. This is a very common occurrence for me. I will read words. I will have a definition in my head of what they mean, but I would definitely want to look them up just to make it crystal clear, because who knows where that idea came from. I do know the context a little bit. I mean, I know Trump has been demanding or crying about getting the rates lower so that he can spur the economy for his whatever his ends are. But browbeating to me sounds like someone hitting someone across the face.
I think so. Yeah, I think it means what it says. I think it says what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Your brow is your forehead, right?
Yep, and you're smacking
beating someone. Yeah, and that's what Trump's doing, right? He's up at
3 a.m.
I read that he made 150 social media posts the other night between the hours of 10 p.m. and midnight.
Wow!
And then he was back up again tweeting at 5:30 in the morning. Apparently, he doesn't sleep. And I think
doesn't sleep.
No, and I think that the people in the Trump camp, or he doesn't sleep much, the people in the Trump camp see that as a sign of like manly
strength.
But anyway, he's extremely online. He's our by far most online president ever. Yeah. And he's on his social media network, Truth Social, retweeting like right-wing conspiracies, attacks on the Dems, randomly made up AI shit, and just any positive thing about him or his wife. So but among the like torrent of tweets from the president.
Yeah. Are they called tweets on Truth Social, or are they called truths?
Truths.
Or something
whatever they're called. I don't know. I think they're always going to be called tweets.
Yeah.
The Powell, he's one of the he is the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
he's a frequent target of Trump's tweet barrage. And Trump is like lower interest rates, just always, regardless of what inflation's doing, regardless of anything else, just lower interest rates, heat up the economy, which probably every president argues for lower interest rates, heat up the economy, make me look better. Trump just does it in his unique style of like, this guy's a very stupid person.
Yeah.
Like that.
He's such an idiot. Why doesn't he get this done? Yeah.
Calling him nicknames and stuff. Anyway, browbeating. Yeah. To beat someone across the head with repeated insults about how stupid you are for not cutting the prime rate. Let me see.
Okay.
Browbeating. To intimidate or disconcert by a stern manner or arrogant speech. Oh, and a synonym here, which is bully.
Yep, that sounds like the approach that President Trump utilizes.
It's a unique flavor. It's not like most of our past presidents. In fact, can you imagine a single president in our life who was
not in the past, other than Trump?
Not in our lifetimes. Not anything close to this, right? It's always been like this very reserved, statesman-like type of a thing.
Yeah, and in fact, when there's any like air of like criticism, people would jump up and down, right? They'd be like, "Oh, the president alluded to the idea that the prime minister of England is incompetent," and you're like, No, we didn't suggest that. We were just commenting on something else or whatever.
It's wild that we went from like, for our whole lives, the president was always like the most careful about the things that they said publicly. Mm-hmm. And then we just flipped it completely to where the president is now the least careful about the things that they say publicly. Because you're not careful about what you're saying if you're tweeting 150 times in 2 hours.
No, you don't have time to.
You obviously don't give a shit at all. You're just like, this is good for me. That's good for me. That's good for me. That's bad for them. That's bad for them.
It's autopilot. Yeah. It's pure. Well, I guess if you never sleep, you probably are running almost entirely on autopilot, because it takes sleep to exercise the prefrontal cortex, right? And like be deliberate and careful and strategic. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. If you want to catch up on all of our words of the week, you can go to lsat.link/wow.
Be LSAT famous. Please ask questions or share news with us on our website, thinkinglsat.com, or on our socials at lsatdemon. If you have questions about the demon, you can email help@lsatdemon.com. You can also check out our other podcast, LSAT Demon Daily. That was episode 537 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. Thanks all y'all for listening. Nice knowing you. Don't pay for it.